what is happening in crypto right now is not what people think that it is. I know a lot of people are under the impression that we're falling into a bear market, that things are going to get pretty ugly. And you know what? Maybe we do have some more downside ahead of us. I can acknowledge that, right? There's always the potential that price can, in fact, go lower. Well, but what we're actually watching right now in the crypto market isn't really an entrance into a bear market. It's just strategic rotation and positioning before times get very exciting. It's all a question of how long this is going to take before things explode and begin to rally. And I want to show you guys exactly what I found here that shows this is taking place. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So without knowing what this chart is, I want you to look at this for a moment. Does this look like a chart that wants to move to the upside, or does it look like a chart that wants to break to the downside? Me personally, when I'm looking at this, this looks like a chart that wants to see some downward momentum, that wants to do some retest, that wants to set lower lows. Now, obviously, if we're looking at this chart from a technical standpoint, it looks like we're actually building a little bit of a descending wedge here, maybe a descending channel. I didn't measure it out. We are seeing actually a bearish cross take place on daily stochastic RSI here. We're still very much in the red on the MACD. It looks like MACD's got a little bit of ways to go here still. And what that means is we might see this move to the downside. This chart is USDT dominance. What we're watching actively in the crypto market right now is seller exhaustion. There comes a point where you run into a big block of people that have major conviction, that are unwilling to dump their assets. We've hit this over the past few weeks. It's why we're not really making any super accelerated movements to the downside right now. We continue to hold kind of similar ranges throughout assets in the crypto space. Some are in fact seeing little baby rallies, a little bit of recovery rally, right? And it's a question of, do we in fact get this move to the downside in terms of USDT dominance to start a big full-on rally, right? Like we've seen historically speaking. In fact, last time we saw a similar chart that looked like this was all the way back here in July, right before we saw a big USDT dominance breakdown rally in the crypto market. You guys get the point, right? But here's the thing: is this is all retail, right? Retail's waiting to re-enter the market. People are obviously concerned with the macro. People are concerned with obvious war abroad, economic uncertainty, right? These things have obviously weighed into a lot of what we dealt with here in 2025. But what we're watching taking place on the institutional side right now is a strategic rotation, in fact, to altcoins. Now, when we look at these last several weeks for BTC, for Ethereum, we actually had an inflow week back in late November. And then we had a dump week last week. That was on the BTC side. On the Ethereum side, we saw something very similar. Big inflow week took place the last week in November. Big outflow week took place the first week of December. But what's interesting about this is digital asset ETPs saw $716 million in weekly inflows, which means that they in fact had back-to-back weeks of inflows here. And actually, just to show you guys, 180 billion AUM. All right. So that's a pretty large amount. That's assets under management for those that aren't familiar. But this is an interesting rotation, because if BTC and Ethereum, the two largest ETFs here in the US, saw outflows last week, but overall we had an inflow week, you're actually watching institutional money begin to rotate to altcoins. And we've talked about this in terms of XRP. If you guys missed my XRP videos, I've talked about the significant inflows of almost $1 billion they've seen flow in just over the past several weeks alone. Obviously, Solana seeing huge inflows. They are positioning themselves right now in a strategic dip in the crypto market. And we could talk about manipulation till I'm blue in the face if you guys want. But the timing is very convenient. And they right now are showing you what their plan is. Get in while stuff is cheap and wait for the market to rip. And it's a question of, again, when is this going to take off, right? This could be this week. Maybe it's next year. Maybe or next month. Maybe it's next year sometime at some point, right? Obviously, we've talked about the potential scenarios here where we just rally huge out of this big bear trap that we've been building, that I feel like we're kind of in right now. and we see some insane highs, maybe heading into late December or early part of 2025 or 26. Gosh, that's right. We're backed up against the end of the year now. Or maybe we see kind of a shorter, less deep bear market where by the time we get to, February, March, April, the market's already rallying and recovering and we're starting to trigger adoption again, right? These are some of the scenarios that we've talked about taking place. And I think right now BTC dominance is showing us a very good sign of this, even after we've gone on these big retracements in the market. I mean, just take a look at this. Since basically late August, BTC dominance is somewhat unchanged here. That right there, guys, is altcoin confidence. So you're not watching what you see heading into bear markets. You're not watching the traditional things that we would see around the top, okay? And that's, again, why I keep saying I don't think the top's in. That's why I keep saying I think that the market cycle, the 4-year cycle is broken. And again, maybe it's more of a business cycle. Maybe it's focused on PMI. Maybe the cycles were nothing to begin with. It was just a happy coincidence that took place that we watched very closely, that retail controlled and was able to basically dump every 4 years, right? We have new players in the space that don't see it that way. They're buying. They're positioning themselves. And that's, again, a big reason why I think retail is going to mess up this market cycle really bad. But that's just my thoughts. I wanted to share that with you guys. They are buying. They are positioning themselves. And a lot of people, I think, are going to get caught on the sidelines. So that's my thoughts. I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think that we're all just dumb and we're fading away and altcoins are headed for the hills? But have a great day. Show your love below. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.